Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me here on the mat today. My name is Sharon. This practice can help to create a sense of grounding and connection. It's also helpful for relieving anxiety and helping calm the mind. It has a connection to our second chakra, Svadhisthana, which means one's own place. You can access your own place through inner sensations. Feeling brings consciousness into the body and simultaneously brings the body towards consciousness. It's the ultimate connector between awareness and the body. We feel where we are in space. We feel our orientation to gravity. We feel the rise and fall of our breath. We feel the tingling of our limbs. The feeling function is of importance to developing your practice and understanding the gift of yoga. For our physical practice today, I'll be bringing your awareness to the sacrum. The sacrum is a large triangular bone at the base of the spine, which sits between the two sides of the ilium. The sacrum can get stiff through too much sitting, repressed emotions, or guarding against injury. So we'll be working to bring some ease into the lower back. I invite you to join me on the mat in a reclined position. So I invite you to take a moment to feel the connection with your breath. The breath can be triggering for some people, so if you'd rather, you could focus your awareness to a spot on the ceiling, maybe a sound that you can hear in the room, or noticing where the feet connect with the ground. You can always use an alternative anchor point other than the breath. And throughout the practice, I might bring your awareness to sensations throughout the body. And please know that if you're not feeling that sensation or you're feeling something completely different, that this is perfectly normal, it's okay and acceptable to just be wherever you are and be present with whatever sensations that you're feeling. There's no right or wrong. So as you're ready, I invite you to bend your knees and place your feet flat onto the floor if they're not there already. And bring your hands and just slide them underneath the lower back, where the arch is in the lower back. So pressing the hips down into the ground and the shoulders, you might notice the arch in the lower back becomes a little more obvious. And now we're going to do the opposite and start to press the lower back down into your hands, as if you're taking the curve out of the lower back. So we're going to combine this movement with the breath, if that's okay for you. So as you inhale, I invite you to press the back of the hips down into the ground, and the shoulders start to accentuate the curve in the lower back. And as you exhale, start to press down as if you're pressing the lower back into the hands, taking the arch out of the spine. Now, you're welcome to leave the hands there, or you could remove the hands and let them fall anywhere that feels more natural and comfortable for you. And we'll continue to move with the breath. And as you inhale, creating the arch in the lower back as you press the sacrum down into the ground. And as you exhale, pressing the lower back down towards the mat, taking the arch out of the spine. Finding your own rhythm of movement and breath here. As we continue to breathe this way, the breath distributes prana up and down the torso and increases fluidity into the sacrum and releases the lower back. We'll take 2 more rounds of breath whilst still moving, pressing the sacrum down, arching the spine, and then pressing the lower back down into the ground. Now, as you're ready, I invite you to come back to a more neutral spine and natural position for you. And we'll begin to allow the legs to sway from side to side. Just gently letting the knees fall to the right and to the left. And in your own time, we'll allow the knees to fall to the right side and hold them there. You might like to take a block and place the block underneath the knee if that feels more comfortable for you. And then we'll start to move the legs again side to side. And as you're ready, allow the knees to fall to the left side and holding them there. So again, feel free to place a block underneath the knee if it's more comfortable. And perhaps notice where you're feeling the most sensation in the body. And we'll come back onto the back to our starting position. And we'll draw the knees in towards the chest. And I invite you to explore with perhaps rocking side to side, or maybe making some circles with the knees. And if you're making circles, perhaps changing the direction of the circles. I invite you to hold onto your right knee and place the left foot down onto the ground. And perhaps you might like to explore with turning the knee out slightly towards the right side, as if you're pulling the knee down past your shoulder. You could explore with extending the left leg along the mat. And perhaps bringing a little bit of activation into the left leg by flexing the foot. And from here, I invite you to straighten the left leg if you haven't done that already. And we'll take the right knee across the body, start to roll onto the left hip as you bring the right knee across to the left side. So you might like to place a block underneath the knee. And I'll give you some options here for your right arm. You might like to allow the arm to rest down by the side. You could explore the sensation as you take the arm out to shoulder level. Perhaps you'd like to explore with reaching the arm up. You could bend the elbow into a cactus shape. And you could notice the change in sensations as you move the arm through different positions. And then choose the sensation that sits right with you and leave your arm resting in that position. Slowly we'll come back over onto the back and place the right foot flat onto the floor. Now as we bring the left knee towards the chest, we're going to flex the left foot and cross the ankle by the knee. Taking our left hand just by the left knee, you can gently press the knee away, just gently without any force. And notice the sensations that you're feeling. So in my body, I can feel a sensation in my outer hip on the left leg. And you may be feeling the sensation somewhere else, and that's perfectly okay. Just be present with the sensation you're feeling. Now another option here could be to lift your right foot from the floor and take your left hand through the gap of your leg and hold around the back of the right leg. So if you do choose to change from one option to the next, maybe notice if that brings around any change in sensations that you're feeling. Okay, then we'll bring the right foot back down to the ground if you lifted it, and bring the left knee in towards the chest. So you might like to explore with slightly turning the left knee towards the left side, as if you're pulling the knee down past the shoulder. And then you might like to also explore with extending through the right leg. You could bring some activation into that leg by flexing the foot. Perhaps invite in a conscious breath. And now I invite you to extend your right leg if you haven't already. And we'll start to bring the left knee across the body, rolling onto the right hip, bringing the left knee across to the right side. And you could always place a block underneath the knee if it feels more supportive to you. Then we'll explore some different options with our left arm. So perhaps you'd like to rest the left arm down by the side. You might like to take the arm out to shoulder level. Perhaps reaching the arm up overhead. You could explore with bending the elbow into a cactus shape with the arm. And as you move through those different range of motion with the arm, notice the change in sensations. Feel which sensation is more comfortable in your body today. So we can honor the comfort of the body always. And we'll slowly roll back onto the back, bringing the left foot flat to the floor. And as we start to bring the right knee in towards the chest, we'll flex the foot
and cross the ankle by the knee. Taking the right hand just by the right knee, gently pressing it away from you. Noticing the sensations that you're feeling and what these sensations might be telling you. Another option here you might like to explore with lifting the left foot from the floor, holding around the back of the left leg. And observe the change in sensations that you feel as you move from one option to another. And always honour the body, so if you feel discomfort, then take another option or another shape altogether, something that feels good in your body. And slowly lowering the feet to the ground. In your own time and in your own way, I invite you to come up to a seated position. And we'll bring the feet out in front of us, flat onto the floor, and lean back onto the hands. So I invite you to add a little length through the spine. And gently start to roll the knees from one side to the other. And you can continue with this if it feels good in your body. Or you might like to let the knees fall over to the right side and hold them there. I'm going to give you some other options that you can explore with. And feel free to find your own shape in the practice and make it your own. So another option you could take is to bring your left hand over towards the right side. And as we move through these options, feel the sensations change throughout the body and what feels good and what feels bad. And you choose, this is your practice, your choice, you choose where to hold your body in the position. So maybe you come back, maybe you do something completely different. So another option, you could start to walk the hands further behind you. And you might like to come down to your forearms. You could bring the forearms to a block. And wherever you are, invite in a conscious breath. And slowly we'll come back to face the front, allowing the knees to fall to the other side. And I invite you again to invite a little more length into the body. And your practice, your choice, you choose where you'd like to go here. But for some options, you could bring the right arm towards the left side. You could perhaps walk the hands further behind you. Maybe coming down to the forearms or to a block. Being present with the sensations. Noticing what you feel. And slowly returning back to the center. In your own time, your own way, we'll come onto our hands and knees into tabletop. And I invite you to bring your awareness again to the lower back, as we did when we were laying on the ground. As we inhale, we're going to bring in an arch into the lower back, reaching the heart forwards. As we exhale, rounding through the spine, taking that arch out of the lower back. And I invite you to move here with the own flow and rhythm of your breath. So don't worry if it looks different to mine. Travel inwards and feel the connection to your own breath. So please feel free to continue with some cat and cow, or you might like to come into downward facing dog. And downward facing dog is quite a transition from where we've been, so take your time, honour your body, be kind to yourself, and if you'd like you can tuck your toes. Bringing the arch into the lower back as we look forwards, inhale. And with your exhale, lift the knees and lift the hips up towards the sky. Pressing the hands down into the ground so the shoulders come up by the ears. And I invite you to feel into the body and add in any intuitive movement that maybe feels good here. So you might like to pedal through the feet. You could turn the hips from side to side. Bend the knees. Anything that feels good to you and is giving you pleasant sensations throughout the body. And slowly we'll lower the knees to the ground. And I invite you to sit back towards the heels. So don't worry if the hips don't connect with the heels. You can leave them lifted. Get into as much of a comfortable position here as you can. Extending the arms forwards. Resting the head down towards the ground. So our bodies are all different. So feel free, if this position is not comfortable for you, to take something completely different. You could lie on your back. Take a moment to be present with your breath. Notice the sensations you're feeling throughout your body. And in your own time, your own way, I invite you to step to the top of the mat. And with an inhale, rise all the way up, reaching the arms up over the head and really reaching up like you're trying to touch the ceiling. As you breathe out, bringing the arms down by the sides. Taking a moment to notice the feet on the ground. Feel the texture of your mat or your carpet or whatever you've got underneath your feet. And as we invite in the next inhale, perhaps you'd like to reach your arms up. As we exhale, bowing forwards. Bend into the knees, bringing the hands down to the ground, or you could use blocks if you have them. Notice where you're feeling the most sensation here. What that sensation is perhaps telling you. Feel if any emotions are coming up for you. Maybe you could associate a colour with what you're feeling. And we'll inhale, coming into a half lift. And as we exhale, I invite you to step back with the left foot and bring the knee down to the ground. So we could just heel toe the right foot a little bit more towards the right side. So we can bring the hands on the inside of the foot. And maybe you'd like to stay here on your hands. If you have blocks, you could perhaps explore with bringing the forearms onto the blocks. You could always bring the forearms down to the ground. And if you choose to move through those options, see what feels best in the body today. And feel free to change your shape, your position at any time. Can you notice your foot on the ground? Can you feel any sensation in your hips, your hamstrings? Maybe there's a sensation in your hip flexor on your back leg at the front of the hip. Staying present with whatever you're feeling. And as you're ready, slowly coming back up onto the hands. And we'll step forwards into a wider forward fold. So you can take the left foot a little bit wider towards the edge of the mat as you bow forwards. And perhaps as you breathe in, we could stand up, reach the arms all the way over the head. As you breathe out, bowing forwards. Inhale, taking a half lift. And with your exhale, I invite you to step back with your right foot, bringing the knee down to the ground. And adjusting the hands on the inside of the foot. So again, perhaps you stay here on your hands. You might like to come down to your blocks, bringing the forearms to blocks, or you could take your forearms all the way down to the ground if that feels like it's a nice comfortable position for you. And perhaps you go through the options and you decide to change. And that's okay. Be present with what you're feeling. Feel where your body is in space. Feeling the orientation of the body to gravity. Noticing the breath. And slowly coming back onto the hands. Tucking the back toes, we'll lift the knee and step forwards, bringing the feet to a comfortable distance underneath you. And perhaps as you inhale, you might like to rise up, reach the arms up. And exhale, bowing forwards, bend into the knees, bringing the hands down. And inhale. As we exhale, we're going to step back to tabletop, coming onto our hands and knees. You could always take downward facing dog if you would like. And we'll cross at the ankles and come back to our sitting bones. Extending the legs out in front. I invite you to bring your right knee in towards your chest and place the foot flat onto the floor. So you might like to take your left arm and wrap it around the leg, or you could reach the left arm up and bring the elbow to the outside of the knee. Whatever feels more comfortable for you today. And bringing the right hand behind you. As you invite in a breath, lengthen through the spine. And as you breathe out, perhaps pull the back shoulder back a little further. And release. Extending the right leg, drawing the left knee in towards the chest, bringing the foot flat to the floor. And you might like to wrap the arm around the leg, or you could reach the arm up and bring the elbow to the outside of the knee. Bringing the left hand a little bit behind you, and as you invite in a breath, lengthen through the spine. And as you breathe out, draw in the shoulder back. Slowly unwind. And in your own time, I invite you to come onto your back and bring your support with you. So it may be a block, it could be some blankets or pillows. Bending the knees with the feet flat on the floor. I invite you to lift the hips and take your prop and slide it underneath the sacrum. So remembering that the sacrum is that large triangular bone between both sides of the ilium. So we don't want to have the block or your props up in the arch of the back. Make sure that it's lower down, so we're nice and supported on our prop. And I invite you to take your arms into any comfortable position. You notice the rise and fall of your breath. Maybe there's a tingling feeling in your palms or in your limbs. Just be present with any sensations you're feeling. And maybe there's no sensations at all, and know that that's perfectly okay. So I invite you now to move your props and slowly lower. And as we come into our final resting pose, I invite you to find a shape that suits you, that feels comfortable and supportive to your body right now. So maybe you stay on your back with your knees bent. You might like to extend the legs into Shavasana, or perhaps lying on your side or coming up to a seat. And take a moment to notice where your feet connect with the ground. Maybe it's the soles of the feet, the heels, the outer edge of the foot. Wherever the feet touch the ground, feel the support beneath you. Notice the temperature of the ground on your skin. Bringing your awareness up the legs to the sacrum. Perhaps noticing the vibrations of energy around the lower back. Bringing your awareness up the spine to the shoulders. Noticing the parts of the body that connect with the ground. Feeling the support of the ground beneath you. Invite some ease into the back of the neck. Perhaps softening the skin around the eyes, smoothing out the forehead. Noticing where the back of the head rests on the support of the ground. You might like to invite in a conscious breath and feel the rise and fall of the breath. I invite you to stay here for as long as you need to honour this moment of rest. And only when you feel ready, you're welcome to come to a seated position. Thank you for joining me here today. It's been an honour to practice with you. And I'd like to take a moment of gratitude for our bodies, for guiding us through this practice today. May we invite peace into our bodies. May we speak words that heal and create peace. May we bring peace to our minds. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Enjoy the rest of your day.